Welcome back. We're live from downtown Grand Rapids for the start of the Fifth Third Riverbank Run here. An incredible day in Grand Rapids. Really looking forward to getting started here. And in just a few minutes, the 5K is going to kick off.
Yeah, it's 6:53, 6:54 right now, so about 6 minutes until that start of that race. Right now we have a lot of people. I see people kind of running to the starting line, running a little bit late for whatever reason this morning. It gets crowded downtown for this race.
Might be an issue too.
Right. So people are standing by and they're thinking about how this is going to go for them. Some of those 5K runners are doing this, racing in an organized situation for the very first time. What's your best advice for them?
I think, this event is a great stepping stone. If you do the 5K, you can do the 10K the next year, 25K, and so anybody can really get out there to do it, and so. But if it's your first time, or if it's you're not familiar with the course, going out a little slow is always a good idea because you want to be able to finish strong. And there's a little bit of an uphill finish as well. So that last K is uphill, right, Jack? So,
yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. So you're saying I should have done the 5K and the 10K first instead of just jumping into the 25K?
It's okay to jump steps once in a while, but.
What is your plan, Jack, when you go out to do that 25K? Are you going to start out slow today, or are you going to just kind of go
I'm going to start slow and finish slow.
Okay.
I'm just going to finish. I did this 5 years ago, and it was a great experience.
Yeah.
Until that until they had to lay me down, put an IV in my arm, and chart me away.
For those of you who don't know, Jack did train for this a couple years ago,
and 5 years ago.
Yeah, and
from start to finish, one of the great experiences of my life.
Right.
And I'll tell you, there have been 2 times in my life that I've probably lost a 15 to 20 pound loss, and both times it was training for a race.
From running.
Wow.
So yeah, exercise.
So you've really been able to shed that many pounds.
Yeah.
You look great. Young's look great.
I'm kind of a sloth unless I
Unless
have
you
to.
have that goal to look forward to, that goal that you're pushing toward. I understand.
Oh my God. Well, we are looking forward to the start of that 5K, and this is going to be one of the bigger races. I mean, everybody's just going to come out of the gate pretty much. It's not like an elite crowd with the 5K, right, Dathan?
There's a small semi-elite field. I wouldn't call it elite field. We call it sub-elite.
Okay.
And so there are people who, maybe locally they're very good, or around the state, because there is a little bit of prize money. It goes $500 for first place, $300 for second, $100 for third. So there is a little bit of prize money. So you will get some good people. Still, and so there's some good masters as well around.
What kind of times are we looking at for the top sub-elites here?
The 5K, I think the course record, if I'm accurate, is around in the mid 14s.
Okay.
Anything below 14 is a very fast time on the road. But I wouldn't be surprised. There will be in the 14s, I think, for the men, and the women probably in the low 16s, mid 16s maybe.
So if I went out there rocking my 10-minute miles, I'm probably not collecting a $500 check.
You'll be a mile in or so when they're finishing. So.
Well, let's talk about the difference between a road race and trail racing and other types of races that are out there. What are people looking for when they train for a road race specifically?
Yeah, well, road racing is a booming, thriving thing in our sport right now, and most people come out of track and field backgrounds. But people who start later in life, they might just have been a soccer player, football player. They want to still be active, afterwards, and most of those sports end after high school for most people. Some people maybe play in college, but after that, who plays football, regularly? So running becomes a sport that they can do, and road running is really what's taken over, and there's a lot of money in it, a lot of sponsorship, and it's a great healthy thing. So it's a thriving, business actually too.
Yeah.
And so that track and field side is down a little bit. But road racing is really just booming. And so,
it is.
And it is a participation thing because you could have someone like myself, a multi-Olympian, striking 2 midfoot, and I actually got hurt, because I wasn't ready to do it. It's a slow transition, and you got to be able to hold that form as well. And so you got to be smart about it as well.
Okay. So when you are running, you want to kind of hit midfoot. That's the idea now.
Yeah, you're not having that braking that you have with your heel. So.
There's that 10-second countdown right now. I believe I just heard.
They got the starting line ready to go. The front runners are going to be taking off first here. 30
Oh,
seconds.
30
out.
seconds.
Here we go.
I do recognize my
was-
neighbor there.
Oh yeah, right at the beginning.
Yeah, in the yellow there, and the bald guy in the yellow.
Well, that'll keep you running, having you as a neighbor, Dathan. I can imagine waking up, looking out the
Yeah,
window.
that's-
Oh, there he is
that seems like
again.
that seems like an unfair advantage. Has he been like talking to you about it?
Well, he actually did come over and get some of my training equipment, the Normatec pants that help that. So.
Nice.
And here we go, the beginning of the 5K and the Fifth Third Riverbank Run.
And they are off in the 5K. Congratulations, runners. Have a great race.
Now, this is one of my favorite parts of our broadcast, is when they get to run right by where we are set up at the corner of Monroe and Monroe Center. It's just awesome to see them right off the starting line, running by us, cheering, excited, full of energy.
Run fast.
We have a great seat here, and so do you at home.
So for you, if you run a 5K, is it just an all-out sprint for you, Dathan, at this point?
If I, definitely running on the track, it is. When I ran the American record, when I ran 12:56, it was 4:06, 4:12, 4:06 for those miles, and it felt like a sprint, but
That's absurd.
Isn't that, it's so hard for me to imagine that.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is something that you have been doing your entire life, I imagine. Can you tell us about your history of running when you started?
To be really great at anything, it takes a long time. And for me, it started, when I was 12 years old. I've been training for 20 years now, and really since I went into high school when I was 14, I've been training twice a day. It's all I do, and so. Now it seems normal.
Sure.
But, back then, maybe not so much.
I'm seeing kids out here that are younger than 12 years old. By a long shot, when's the best time for a child to get started in, say, a 5K race?
Doing something like a 5K is great for any kid, but I think it's important to be all-around athletic. And so sometimes if a parent sees a kid who maybe has potential to be a good runner, it's good to let them do those competitions and let them do a little bit. But when they start focusing solely on one sport at a young age like that, it can be detrimental as well. And so you want to see kids develop athletic skills too beforehand, because you get really good at basically doing this, running in a straight line.
Sure.
And then you lose all that other stuff. And when they're kids, they should be developing those athletic skills as well.
Some good advice for parents out there.
Yeah, and the first wave of them has gone by our stand here now. Here comes the next one.
It's really great to see. I know one thing that a neighbor of mine is involved with is Girls on the Run, and you see so many girls getting involved with running at a young age, even at the elementary school age right now.
Yeah, and it's a great confidence building too, because you get out there and especially when you haven't done it and you have a starting point and you don't feel that good. But the first couple weeks is difficult, but you get better and better, and then you get a camaraderie too. As Jack was talking about with the Road Warriors, there's a camaraderie in training with other people. You go through those same long runs, you go through those same workouts, and when you do that, you get a sense of community, and that's what I think is really important with running, and that's why this event has become such a big thing as well. People take a lot of pride here in it, and whether you're a spectator or a runner, it's something that you can take pride in, and you do with other people.
And I can tell you those 3, 5, 6 miles, if you're doing it by yourself, it's labor. You go do it with a running buddy or a group, and you get some conversation going. You run at a good conversation pace. Before you know it, you're finished, and you're like,
That was
hey, wait a minute,
enjoyable.
I'm already done?
Yeah.
All right, I'm doing better than I thought.
That's one thing that Greg Meyer was talking about here, is that these days so many people wear earbuds when they're running, and they're doing this as kind of like this singular individual sport, and he's really kind of laments the fact that they're doing that. He thinks it's more of a team sport in
Right.
some ways. It's camaraderie. It's the running and talking to somebody while you're doing it and having conversations, which I have our time imagining you can do very much of.
It does keep you hungry and motivated, though, because you're less likely to skip your early morning run if someone else is going to be there. You're not going to just bail on them as
hanging,
easily, as you might. But that is, a lot of races they don't allow them to wear them in the races, to wear headphones and stuff like that for safety reasons. I tend to agree with that a little bit, just because even on the road, like I'll be on a trail or out on the road and you run by someone who has them in, and they're not aware, and you scare them to death when you
Sure.
run past them going at my pace or something like that. They're scared to death.
Yeah.
And as the next group gets ready to take off here, we're going to pull up the map of where they're going to be running to. This is the course that all these runners will be going here in the 5K. Most of it around the downtown area here. This isn't going to get out into that hilly area so much.
Yeah, it's fairly flat downtown here, which is, it can be a fairly quick course. There is, actually, I ran this last year and then jumped onto with you guys a little bit later.
Yep.
And just to jog as because I just moved back about a year ago, and so we announced here last year that I was going to move back with the family, and so I ran it, and there's a little bit over the bridge, and in the last mile that you goes up a little bit, but it's not that difficult like the 25K where you get the Butterworth Hills there towards the end.
Trained on those a lot this year. Yeah.
Got to do that hill workout though, because the hills are very important. That's something a lot of people don't think. Even if it's a flat race, the hills, they create power. It's like weightlifting for runners.
Okay, yeah.
Because if you think about it, you're moving more mass up a hill like that. All the muscles in your back, your butt, your hamstrings. It takes a lot more to move up the hill. So it's like weightlifting, really.
Well, I'm excited to think about running more as a team sport. You guys have really given me some insight into that, because you do think about it as an individual thing, something you can do by yourself, but when you do it with a team, as you guys are talking about, you really maybe are getting more out of it.
A lot more out of it.
Yeah.
And you really get to know somebody when you're going for 6-7 miles. And the conversations getting to go back and forth.
Yeah.
So you're suggesting, Emily, we should do it as a daybreak
Maybe
team.
we should.
There you go.
We're already up.
Together.
We're already up before the break of dawn. So why not just throw that in there?
Why not?
You guys could both wear your Google glasses like Casey did last year. And just kind of broadcast your thing live.
Do the news as we're jogging. Sure would be a big hit.
They do have a corporate challenge, I believe, for this. So.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, we're all doing this.
That's true.
The entire staff of the station is here.
Oh my gosh. One thing that we haven't discussed so far, and we are fortunate to have you with us, is that Boston Marathon. 7th place.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, I was, I had those secret ambitions. Everybody wants to win the Boston Marathon, and I was leading at 21 miles, which coming up over Heartbreak Hill, which is the famous, it's a famous point in the race where you're at the highest point and you've been going uphill for about 5 miles, and but it was my first marathon in a year and a half, and I was a little bit nervous still. I hadn't trained that much relative to other marathons, so I was a little nervous, and I maybe was a little cautious going down the last few miles, but I finished well and felt great. And I wanted to be able to be the next guy from West Michigan after Greg had won it in '83, but hopefully I'll go back again and have another shot at it still.
So Greg's won it. You were the first American to finish. Jason Hartman's done that twice.
Yes.
What is it about West Michigan that's created, so many great distance runners?
I think, in general, even the last woman who's won, Lisa Rainsberger, was from Michigan. Desiree Davila was the top American woman. She was 4th. She trains at the Hanson's Brooks group over in Rochester. And I think there's a certain toughness you get through training through the winter and stuff like that. And the thing about Boston is anybody can win too. It's not like some of the races where it's a rabid race and you have to be the fastest guy.
Yeah.
You can be smart, you can train well for the hills and things like that, and it's a little bit of an equalizer.
Well, we're going to talk more about that coming up here shortly, but we got to take a break because we want to come back in time to be able to see the finish of the 5K. So we'll be right back. You're watching live from downtown Grand Rapids, the 5th Riverbank Run.
How many waves are they sending them off at?
This is right.
Welcome back to our live coverage of the 5th Riverbank Run from downtown Grand Rapids. We're taking a look at the finish line right now. We're waiting for those 5K runners to finish in just a few minutes, but we need a quick check of your forecast from meteorologist Terry DeVore. Terry?
Watching the radar all morning, no sign of any lightning. Our lightning detection system remains at 0, which is good news. We do have more rain coming in. We've had a little bit of a break in the rain for about the last 15 minutes to 20 minutes or so, but now light to moderate rain is going to become more widespread, moving into downtown Grand Rapids. Over the next, I would say, 15 to 20 minutes, we'll see the rainfall become more intense and more widespread. Not the deluge that we had earlier today, but you'll definitely want the rain gear as you head downtown. And as you can see, into downtown Grand Rapids between about 7:15 to 7:30, we're going to see some more widespread rain moving in. So the bottom line here, if you're heading downtown to watch the runners, if you're one of the participants, definitely contending with the rain showers, but at least no lightning is expected. Temperatures outside will be in the 60s through the end of the race, and then low 70s this afternoon. And if you're heading to tulip time activities in Holland this afternoon, I do think that generally we'll be looking at the rain showers coming to an end. But again, widespread light to moderate rain for the rest of the morning as the racers again continue to take to the course. At least no lightning, right, Emily and Brett?
That's right. That's the good news about today so far. And I mean, it hasn't dampened any spirits anyway that we've seen anywhere. So many smiles, just a lot of cheers. It's been great so far.
That rain cleared out almost perfectly as far as timing is concerned right before the 5K began here. We had some heavy downpours earlier, and then it just all kind of melted away. Now, does that make any difference for it? Because I understand that some runners like to run in the rain more so than they do in the humid weather.
Well, usually I'm watching the weather obsessively, continually. Like, I got that minute cast going all the time, seeing what's going to happen. But you know, it depends a little bit. But like the Olympic trials in 2012 was pouring, soaking rain. And I think a little bit it depends on if it's cold rain or warm rain.
The enthusiasm continues here. It's going to grow as well.
It's not dampening their spirits at all.
Not at all. You're absolutely right about that. Another live look at the finish line here as we're awaiting all the runners to come in for the 5K. Looking to see if Dathan's neighbor is going to be in first place.
Jeremy Hurley is his name, so I'll give him a shout out there. But also Alan Peterson, who just is graduating from Grand Valley State, is all out of eligibility. He's running both the 5K and the 10K because there is people who they allow to do that now.
Okay.
They start this, they call it the combo. So he'll finish here, have maybe a 20-minute break or so, and then start the 10K and try to win that too.
Wow. What's that like, doing that kind of race? Because you have that downtime.
Yeah, well, you know, I used to do that actually, where I would do races and do the slower heat afterwards as a workout, because sometimes after you do a really hard workout, or a really hard race, you can do a workout afterwards and feel really good, and you get like a super compensation is what they call it. So here we come, the finish right now.
Here we go. Looks like our lead runner coming in right now.
That's definitely not my neighbor, Jeremy. So
I was hoping.
That is Alan, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Alan.
And it looks like Alan is
I believe.
Way ahead.
That's Alan Peterson, I believe.
And then he's going to turn around and do the 10K after this, huh?
Yeah, so he was an All-American at Grand Valley State and has just finished up. He's from up in the Upper Peninsula, and he's got a pretty comfortable win, it looks like, here, and going to pick up $500 too.
Wow.
Nice.
That's incredible. Well, congratulations to him as he comes in and crosses the finish line. Our first runner across the line this year.
Alan Peterson.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Well, you have to think that the Upper Peninsula gives some intense training conditions as well.
Well, that's what, actually at Grand Valley, Jerry, the coach, he probably won't like me saying this because this is his recruiting technique, is that he likes those kids because they don't train that much, up there. And so there's a lot of untapped potential, actually. So.
Second place finisher coming in here, another one in the prize money.
We're just hearing the announcement that 25 minutes, the 10K will be starting. Let's go to Mark Thompson right now with the winner of the 5K. Mark?
Alan Peterson, congratulations, winner of the 5K. Tell me, how was the race for you this morning?
I went out there because I know I had to do a 10K, so I just kind of saw what the field was doing, and then I just kind of pulled away in the last mile or so.
And did you run for Grand Valley?
Yep, I used to run for Grand Valley.
Weather conditions, did that play a role?
Actually, I think the weather's pretty nice right now. Those 25Kers are really going to like it.
Any competition for you? Looked like you had a pretty good lead.
For the first 2 miles they were there, and then I just kind of squeezed the pace down a little bit, but there's probably going to be more people in the 10K, so I got to go get ready for that now.
Yeah, I'll let you get going, and congratulations and good luck in the 10K for you as well.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thanks for your time. All right, back to you guys.
Here's they're headed in towards the finish line. Is he a favorite in the 10K too?
I think, yeah, actually, he has a pretty good shot at winning both, which would be $1,000, which is for a first kid coming right out of college. That's a pretty good little payday, especially he just woke up right here, and so he picks up $1,000 maybe. So I'm pretty sure he's eyeing that extra $500 in the 10K.
So he just said he had to get ready now for the 10K.
Yeah.
How does a guy, after he finishes that, what does he do now?
Well, that is it's a little bit interesting because you usually warm up pretty good. These guys will probably warm up starting at about an hour before the event. Usually they'll run about 3 miles, 20 minutes, pretty easy, super easy pace. Then they'll do some drills, that you would see anybody doing at a track meet, some strides and stuff like that, just keeping things going all the time.
And Our first woman finisher came across the line here. Mark Thompson, I believe, has her right now. Mark?
5K, what was the race like for you?
We went out pretty quick. It settled a little bit after that, but I had to work a little bit that last mile to catch that top girl. So.
And so you're going to be doing the 10K as well?
Yeah. So we'll see how my legs feel after that.
Any competition for you, or do you feel like it was a pretty smooth race? Yeah.
I mean, it was, like I said, a pretty aggressive in the front for the first mile, a little bit faster than I thought, but then it spread out, and I just really had one girl to chase down that last mile. But it kept me going. So.
Tell everybody, where are you from?
Brighton, Michigan.
Very good. You do a lot of training for 5 and 10?
Yeah, primarily that's what I race in the summer on the roads is 5 and 10, sometimes a mile, but not much higher than that, maybe a half marathon here or there, but 5 and 10 is my spot.
Well, congratulations. You obviously trained well for it and get ready for the 10K. Good luck for that as well.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Sarah from Brighton for winning, for coming in first, and the women for the 5K. Great finish there for her.
Seems to be kind of a theme that she's going to turn around and do the 10K as well.
Yeah, hey, no problem. No
Are there a
sweat,
lot of
let's just
runners
do
who
the
kind of
10K.
specialize in that?
It's pretty rare that they actually have the opportunity to do that. Usually, a lot of these races they'll be at the same time, and so you don't necessarily do that. And they'll split off at whatever point in the race. But it's a cool thing because the 10K actually has grown a lot here. It's become a pretty popular event, and the 5K maybe wasn't quite enough challenge for some people, but it's a great event that you can still kind of push yourself without having to do maybe the kind of training that, like doing the 25K, you have to do certain things. You got to be out there, you got to do the long runs and stuff. 10K, you can still get by on just enough, especially for a serious runner.
It's interesting to see the field so spread out on a 5K, a relatively short race. You might think that the runners would come in more at the same time.
As it gets close, as it gets further back in the pack, I mean, once you see the end, they'll come streaming across like crazy. But these are the outliers for the most part, the people that are have a lot of talent. And we'll see even in the 25K, there's a lot more talent because it's the U.S. 25K Championships. So it'll be a lot tighter, earlier on. But then as things get longer on, it spreads out a little bit more as well.
So the race within the race this year, Dathan, that they're doing where the women start ahead of the men, how fun is that going to be to see that kind of play out?
It's a very cool idea. So what we've done in a lot of road races now is they call it an equalizer bonus sometimes. And so this is the first year they're going to try it here. It's an extra $1,000 in the 25K. What the women will do is they'll start 11 minutes and 30 seconds before the men, which is the difference about in the American record. And so what they'll do is they'll go ahead and start them early, and hopefully the idea is that they catch them right at the very end of the race.
You're looking at the results on your screen right now of this. Alan Peterson, we already talked to him, the winner as overall here, first place there. Sarah Boyle coming in fourth.
16:12 is actually very, very fast on roads like this, so that's a really impressive time by Sarah.
That's fantastic.
And Dathan's neighbor finished ninth.
Hey, there you go. There's Jeremy.
Hurley finished ninth, so out of
Great
the money.
job, Jeremy.
That yellow shirt made him go faster.
That's right. Well, he's been dealing with an injury, so I give him that.
Did he talk to you about it beforehand?
Actually, yeah. It's the same injury that I had last year that kept me out of Boston. I got a sports hernia and going into Boston last year, and so he was dealing with that same thing. So he's been kind of asking me, hey, well, how did you figure this thing out and stuff? And so injuries are part of the game, though. Sure. And a lot of people get those. Especially people, it doesn't matter if you're a first timer or if you've been, training for your whole life, injuries are part of the game. And it's a lot of times you just overdo it.
Go back to Boston for a second. I mean, when you were going up Heartbreak Hill and you had the lead, what was going through your head there?
Well, it was very interesting how the race played out because we went out so fast, and it was a headwind, really horrible day. It was rainy and cold and 20-mile-an-hour headwind, and so but we didn't anticipate to go out that fast. And right from the get-go, we were out on 2:05 marathon pace. So, and it was very, very fast. So after 10K, I just kind of laid off a little bit, and they got quite a bit of distance on me. And so I didn't think that I would see anybody again really until into the later miles when people started really hitting the wall. But I put on a little bit of a surge, and they slowed down a little bit, and I caught them halfway at Wellesley College. Really, it's kind of a famous point. A lot of screaming girls. It's a girls-only college, and so I caught them there, and I just decided to keep pushing because the hills start at 16 miles at they call them the Newton Hills, and from 16 to 21 miles, you're basically climbing up laddered stairs of hills, and it's right at that point in the race, 16 miles into a marathon, where it's just horrible. And so I led all the way through the hills and over Heartbreak, and it was exciting. I had the USA on my jersey, so people were going crazy. They loved seeing those Americans in the front of the race like that.
What an incredible experience, and made West Michigan so proud.
Oh, man.
Well, right now we have to say goodbye to Jack. Good luck, Jack.
I gotta go get ready for a race.
Yeah, he's headed out there.
Are you sure?
Yes,
Jack?
he's sure. Yes.
You are. You want to go on? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Should I eat some donuts and something
Oh.
like that?
Skip Dunkin' Donuts on the way.
Maybe after for a reward.
Yeah. Good luck, Jack. We wish you the
thanks.
best in this.
Gonna miss you guys.
No, I know. Well, we'll see you back here
At about
afterwards.
10
so.
miles in, I'll really be missing you guys.
It's going to be great. Good luck, Jack.
We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with more of our coverage from downtown Grand Rapids. You're watching the Fifth Third Riverbank Run live. Welcome back to our live coverage of the Fifth Third Riverbank Run from downtown Grand Rapids. You're looking at the finish line as another wave of runners comes across the 5K finish line today. We are awaiting the beginning of the 10K race, too.
That'll happen at about 14 minutes. It's 7:26 right now. That's set to kick off at 7:40.
In the meantime, we're joined by a West Michigan political celebrity, Lieutenant Governor Brian Calley. Thank you so much for coming in to talk today.
It is a pleasure to be here with you.
And a pretty good runner, Lieutenant Governor.
Well, I love to run.
Okay.
I run a lot. I don't feel pretty good next to Dathan. But it really is it's becoming such a great running state, and the run culture that is developing in the state is really exciting. And Grand Rapids is one of the most runnable communities you'll find anywhere.
Yep.
So the Riverbank Run here is a great backdrop for it.
How many times have you run this race now?
This will be my third.
Okay.
The Riverbank Run 3 years ago was my first long run.
Was it?
And so after that, I thought, well, if I can go 15.5 miles, then I can do a marathon. And then from there, I just never wanted to stop. So I've got the Bayshore Marathon coming up in a couple weeks up in Traverse City.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Just keep on going.
Now, what does it mean for you? You're such a busy man. I mean, you said you woke up in Columbia yesterday. You've been all over the place. So how do you get your running in, and what does it mean for you as a busy person?
There's a whole bunch of things that it really does for me. It can be like a stress reliever, something that I love to do, and it's a way to stay in good shape. Mm-hmm. But it's also a way to just experience pure Michigan. The countryside in our state, whether you're running down dirt roads, which is I probably run more dirt roads than anything else, but then also the trail system that's developing here, and running in the cities even can be a lot of fun. So it's just a way to experience Michigan and a way to kind of get away from it all, and also make sure that I keep my belt size the same.
There you go. Well, Dathan, you can speak to that as well, I'm sure, because you chose to move back home, to move back to Michigan. Tell me about running in Michigan as opposed to other areas.
Yeah, as Brian said, it's a beautiful, beautiful state, and so we have all these natural beauty roads that are these dirt roads that you can go out on and not see a car, not see another person, and I think that he's right about that. You have to get out there, and it gives you a different perspective on the beauty of our state. That, sometimes you see so much, places that everybody goes to. Maybe you go to the beach, which are awesome, places, but you don't experience those places that can kind of be a little bit serene and just a great place to get out and collect your thoughts and enjoy it.
Well, Lieutenant Governor, you are going to race today. What are you thinking about this weather? What are you thinking about the rain? How are you feeling about that?
So I run outside 12 months a year.
Really?
So the fact that that it'll be a little bit wet today, but not cold, No sweat.
No worries,
No
huh?
sweat.
It's, you know, when you're running in January and February and the last couple of years of the polar vortex, I mean, that's brutal hard, but there's just something about just running it every single season. You experience so many different aspects of the sport. So today I consider the temperature to be ideal.
Wow.
Today.
Okay.
Wet is not ideal, but you know, we'll go in between hopefully catch some dry spots in between the showers, but it will not dampen the spirits today.
Well, we welcome or wish you the best of luck here, and we certainly do appreciate you coming in to talk to us a little bit about your race today. So thank you again, Lieutenant Brian.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Good luck to you.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
Welcome back to our live coverage of the Fifth Third Riverbank Run. You're looking at the women's leaders and the men's leaders and exactly where they are on that map. You can see where the men are and where the women are. And again, just to recap, the women started about 11 and a half minutes before the men did.
Yeah, that's right, 11 and a half minutes, and that was really the difference in the American record between the two.
Well, you know, we're telling stories of elite runners. We're watching them very closely, but there are a whole bunch of people running this race today from all different walks of life. I got to meet with one woman who's a road warrior about a week ago. We want to tell her story right now. Sometimes before you get going, you have to quit. Sally Finkbeiner is only 34 years old, but for many of those years, she was a smoker.
I smoked for 13 years. I started in middle school, I think it was, early middle school. Smoked for 13 years, and it would weigh on me a lot once I wanted to quit.
And she did quit, and that's when she laced on her first pair of running shoes. But just like kicking the habit, running didn't come easily. She says it wasn't really her lungs that were holding her back, it was her hip or her knee. So Sally quit again.
And so I gave up running, completely just said, oh, I can't run. I'm not a runner. I'm not meant to be a runner.
So how did she get from that point to the Fifth Third Riverbank Run and the road warrior status she holds today? A roommate with a similar experience. She kicked the habit and found salvation on the trail.
I rode a 100-mile bike race this weekend, and now I'm running the 25K. And mentally, physically, I eat different. I live my life different. I have a different routine.
A different routine, but not a different Sally. I asked her how her loved ones would compare the new Sally to the old Sally. She says she's the same person inside, but outside there are some things you might notice.
I'm more energetic. I'm healthier, happier, just all around enjoying life a lot more.
Well, it's really cool to meet with Sally. What a positive gal. And, you know, putting her all into this Riverbank Run, the 25K, she did the 10K, the 5K in the previous years.
Yeah.
And she's been training for this. Of course, you know, everybody has a story. She had some surgery in December. So she's been training hard to get back in it. Of course, she has a partner to run with. Road warrior status is just really cool. She has a great story to share.
That's one of the most amazing things about this race is there are all these people that have overcome so many different trials and tribulations in their lives in order to be able to participate in this. And they've made this a goal, a personal goal. They're going to do the Fifth Third Riverbank Run in order to be able to kind of overcome some of those hardships they've been facing. Really cool stuff here. Let's check in with Amanda Jarrett right now because she's out on the course near John Ball Zoo. Amanda, big smile, Amanda.
We're back. This is an exciting part of the course just after the 13-mile marker, and we are waiting for the lead elite woman runner. Lindsay Scherf, I'm told, is in the lead. And you can see the pace car making its way here through John Ball Zoo area and a lot of spectators out because this is where the race really heats up for a lot of people. I talked to Christo Landry yesterday. He said, you know, this is the big push to the finish once you hit 13. And interestingly enough, this year at 13.1, that's where they put a timing mat for the U.S. Olympic trials. So runners can potentially qualify for that. And here she comes around the bend. This is Lindsay Scherf, 28 years old from New York. She has been leading the pack for a while now. As you can see, nobody in sight, just Lindsay here as she rounds the corner. She just passed mile marker 13 on her way to 14 with the men, I'm told, not too far behind, but this woman is really taking this on her own this morning. You can see there she goes. And I don't see anyone following close behind her at this point. So we are going to be here watching this morning, waiting for the pack of male runners. Told that there's 3 potentially still in the front pack, some other men trailing behind them. And last check, Christo Landry was one of the 3 men in the front trying to catch up to Lindsay. You know, this is that race within a race we've been telling you about. The first year the Fifth Third Riverbank Run has done this, And what a cool thing to see play out here on live TV this morning on Wood TV. We've showed you the GPS tracking we had with the men and the women, and really cool to see those the men try to catch up and the women, and this really big focus on the gender competition, you know, for the women. Here comes another racer here, second behind Lindsay Scherf, with a third behind her, and they are closing the gap here. And we'll send it back to you. We'll check back in a few minutes as we wait for the elite male runners to pass mile 13.
Okay, apparently they're about a half mile between the men and women right now. And so what are you thinking here? We're going to see...
it's going to be close. It's
yeah.
going to be really close, actually. That's the feeling that makes it exciting.
Oh, yes.
I know.
It's like, you know, this would be such a boring race to watch if you were watching the women's race and it's just a runaway. You know she's going to win, but it's exciting now. You're like, is she going to hold them off? I don't know. Maybe if they come down the last 100 meters together, I'll be interested to see.
Who are you rooting for? Be truthful here.
Man, I kind of hope she does it now because she's been out there for so far, you know.
Yeah, she's been kind of running her own race here. And these guys are
racing each other,
down.
and they got each other. She's out there on her own, and be interested. Oh man, I hope she's stored a little bit in the end. And what if she outkicked one of the guys? That would be pretty cool.
That would be really fantastic.
How difficult is that for her, being the runaway? She's kind of out on this island by herself.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
the
so
men are right
the
behind
men
her.
are coming up, and they're going to come up at about 60. Okay, so this is a half marathon split right now. So 64:20 about right now. So that's a pretty solid pace still.
Thank goodness you're here to do the math for us.
Yeah, I know.
And you know, so for instance, like we went through in the Boston Marathon at 64:01. So they're fairly close to that. A little bit slower than that pace, but.
And that's Crystal Landry
that's
out in the
Crystal
lead.
Landry, and he's starting to push the pace again. We can see him here.
This is kind of in his mind. He's got to be thinking this is no sweat. You know, this is where he pulled away last year.
Well, you know, he'd pulled away from the other American finishers, but he still got beat out for the overall. And so, but here he's still thinking it's a pretty good payday if I can make this here. So.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So yeah, that's Jared Ward on the left in the bright colors, Crystal Landry in the green. He's the defending U.S. 25K champion, and then Abdi Abdurrahman in the bright yellow. That's he's the four-time Olympian from Arizona.
So they making their way through John Ball Park and then out onto Fulton, out to Lake Michigan Drive. This is when you get to this point in the race. What's the frame of mind?
I mean, this is hard for these guys because now they're crossing over half marathon, and for Lindsay as well. They've crossed over half marathon. We don't ever race distances that are over half marathon unless it's a marathon, and the difference between those is so big.
Okay.
Sure.
So this is a hard, this is only 2.5 miles, but it's a big 2.5 miles. So it's kind of, you don't know how to run it. Do you run it more like a half marathon? Do you save a little bit left in the tank or not? And so we could see, we could see some hard last miles.
When you talk about the tank here, you're talking about a body. You don't have a gauge that you're looking at and watching it go down. No light goes off. How do you save something in the tank and know you're saving it?
Well, that's the hard thing. You have to be able to know that in practice. For these guys, I think this is maybe a tempo type effort that they would normally do in practice for their longer tempo runs. So they have to know that they're comfortable with that pace, but it's still a little different now. We can see that's actually Sarah Hall right back there. Now this shot can sometimes be a little deceptive. It looks closer than it is sometimes as you're looking outwards like that. If we saw an aerial shot, it might be a lot farther than you think.
Yeah.
Still, and I'm surprised they're letting traffic through there.
I was going to say, because that guy just walked right in
here's
between.
The men are just turning that corner as well, so they're going to actually see her. So they're going to be able to have that incentive now, and she doesn't know that they just rounded the corner now.
But that gives you a little perspective of just how wide that distance is. If they are letting traffic through, it looks much closer than it is.
Absolutely. And so they can see her now, but yeah, like we say, that is still a pretty decent distance. But you can see it's a bit of an uphill now. They're going to be uphill all the way to the finish, and actually the hardest uphill is right at the very end, and that's the steepest uphill of the whole course.
Now, for these men, as they turn the corner and they see Sarah Hall and they see some of these top women runners, there's that, for people who don't run like these elite guys, there'd be that initial reaction, well, just go catch him.
But you can see that in the pace. They're running 4:33 a mile, 4:30. They've seen her now. They've dropped the pace significantly.
Okay.
And so that's the pace that they're running right now.
So it does pick up. There is let's go catch him.
it's a boost of adrenaline that they got just now, and they just got that sense of urgency, that sense of she's right there, but we're running out of real estate as well.
And they're also watching. I just saw one of them look over his shoulder. They're watching each other really closely here as well.
Yes, and Jared just checked his watch there. He was at 14 miles, so he's still checking the splits, seeing how fast they're running as well. And Abdi's starting to fall off the back a little bit here. That's Jared pushing the pace. Jared Ward, the U.S. Marathon champion, trying to run down Lindsay Scherf for that extra $1,000.
And Lindsay Scherf, she's done that as well. She's checked over her shoulder a few times to see where those men are at. Does that actually slow her down a bit, or does that at this point not really matter?
I think, she's probably been on her own for so long, she doesn't know what's going on. And so there's a sense of, do I have this in the bag, or do I have something to worry about? And so I think at this point, it's going to be close. It's still that she's about 4 or 5 blocks up on them. And they're going to take a couple more turns. And every time she turns, she's going to hope that, they don't turn that corner again and they're right behind her.
Now I can tell you can see just behind Lindsay that truck behind the 2 police motorcycles. That's the media truck. That's what I've been on the last 2 years. And that truck is probably about 20, 30 yards in front of those lead male runners. So very close behind Lindsay Scherf there.
And so they're closing pretty hard right now. And it's going to be close. I think they're going to get her, but I couldn't be sure about that either. I mean, that's 15.
That's why we have to stay tuned.
Right, exactly. That's the anticipation.
That's what makes great TV.
It's about 4 blocks according to our map. 4 city blocks.
Yeah.
They have definitely significantly picked up the pace, though.
Well, I guess the question is, at what point will they catch her then, if that's going to be the
I think right after 15 miles, they're going to come up on her.
So now she's turning right down by the YMCA and the Pew campus of GVSU, making her way back to Fulton. Once you get back to Fulton, you're approaching mile 15. When do you start that kick, that final kick?
Yeah, for these guys, there's still 3 guys. Abdi, Jared, and Crystal Landry are still all in contention, and there's a big difference between first place here and second place. And we're talking about if they catch Lindsay here, we're talking the difference between $13,000 and I guess it goes down to $4,000.
Okay.
So for these guys, we're talking
big money.
Big difference.
Big money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. We should mention here, as we were looking at this GPS map here and our trackers are actually on the pace cars. They're not on the runners. And so if you see the men go past, that maybe the pace car is going past first. So
absolutely, yeah.
It's a really great tool, but it's not exact.
It's not exactly accurate, but this is the first time that we've had the W and the M.
Yep, but we just saw the
overlapping.
lead runner, the lead men just took over Sarah Hall, who's the second place woman, and so they're getting close. There's no one else to catch now but Lindsay. That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
And Abdi, there goes Abdi off the back. Now here comes Lindsay. She's getting close to the end. I think she's on Fulton right now.
We're expecting to see the men come around the corner any second now here, so keep an eye out.
There's only one more turn for her.
Now, how does she look right now in your mind, approaching mile 15? Is she looking strong still?
She still looks strong there. She's checking her watch. That means she probably just crossed 15 miles right now.
Okay.
So, and we haven't seen the men turn that corner.
No, we haven't.
Here they come right now.
Oh,
so
man.
she has a half a mile. There's a half a mile to go, and in that time, that's 100. It's going to be close. She might hold them off.
Wow,
She might hold them off.
Going. Isn't that amazing?
I think everybody in West Michigan right now is saying, "Run, Lindsay, run!"
Run, Lindsay,
Yeah.
It's going to be close. It's going to be very close.
I have to admit, I am pulling for her. She's got to win this thing.
Yeah, you're supposed to be impartial, I know, with the media, but it's hard to not pull
It is, right. I think after 5 hours, we are into this.
Well, that's all right. I'll pull for the underdogs. I'll go for the men. If you guys, we can even the playing field.
It's like interest of being fair, huh?
Jared Ward and Crystal Landry have pulled away from Abdi Abdurrahman too, so they've put in they feel that urgency, and you can see the pace truck has gone up, but I think that's actually that's not the pace that they're running.
They haven't actually made that turn, or have they?
They have.
They have
yes.
made that turn.
Yep.
Oh, because
So
they're about to
right
go under
there.
that bridge right there.
So this is uphill right here.
Oh, she's looking. Okay.
She's coming across the river at this point, so.
Yep. So she has getting close to 400 meters to go.
There's basically a Grand River separating the two right now.
That's it. They just crossed under the S-curve area there, and she's looking over her shoulder.
Back, yeah.
It's going to be close. It's going to be tight. But Crystal Landry is still sitting right on the shoulder of Jared Ward, the defending U.S. Marathon champion. Crystal Landry set the American record here last year, though. Very similar. Coming down to the wire, he was outkicked at the end for the overall, but still won the men's U.S. title. But this year he's got another American to contend against.
And now you can see those two in the background of Lindsay Scherf's shot there. You can see him.
Oh yeah.
There they are, those green shoes.
And Jared Ward is feeling the he's feeling the finish line getting closer. Here they go. They're coming up that last turn. This is a pretty good
They're really
uphill.
starting to put a lot into it here.
So has Lindsay exhausted all of her energy, or does she still have some in the tank? That'll be this final kick?
Well, I don't know, but the difference in the pace for them here is going to be probably about 40 seconds in the pace that they actually are running. So if they come up on her, she'd have to considerably accelerate to stay with them. But she's looking pretty good right now. She still has a decent amount of time.
And you saw that.
She's only got one block to go.
There it is.
Oh, it's going to be very close.
Wow, okay.
This is exactly how they wanted this to end. This is how, everybody at Fifth Third Riverbank Run is just screaming right now.
This is exactly.
I mean, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm
I've got
nervous
butterflies.
This is the last turn. This is it right here. She's going to see the finish line right around the corner.
Does
here.
it get any better than this for a runner?
No, this is great. This is exactly how you'd want this to finish. Oh man, we need to get those.
And now we're the victim of our own camera positions here in some ways because we can't see this.
So the pace cars are pulling
As the
off.
pace car pulls off here, though.
Okay.
There
And we'll
she
get a
is.
look.
Oh, it's going to be really close.
Oh,
Lindsay Scherf trying to hold off Jared Ward for that extra $1,000, and he's
Yeah,
over.
like he just passed
He's
her.
just overcome her, and it looks like Jared Ward.
Oh.
Jared Ward is going to be the U.S. 25K champion for the Fifth Third Riverbank Run, and Lindsay Scherf as well. Crystal Landry digging deep for second place. Jared Ward,
wow.
the 2015 Riverbank Run U.S. 25K champion.
Amazing finish.
Going to be the first to break that tape.
Ah, there we go.
There's the tape break.
Yeah.
Jared Ward, your champion. Now for him, not only is he the U.S. national champion, the Riverbank Run champion, his pockets got a little heavier too. There catching.
That's right, and he gets a good amount of points for the U.S. road circuit, which, having won the marathon at the U.S. Marathon Championships as well, he got double points for that. So he's the leader right now in that point series. So he's looking for that extra payday at the end of the year as well. There's Lindsay Scherf on the ground. She gave it everything she had. I mean, that was everything she had.
Yeah, she did.
She did
that
an
was
amazing
Just got caught
job.
with about 100 meters to go.
Now, what are these elite runners? What are their bodies doing right now at the end?
They're feeling it for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's funny, sometimes you get that adrenaline like Jared. He's actually looks fairly fresh because he won. I mean, and that's a great feeling. You get that adrenaline rush. The rest of them are coming through a little bit more staggered, feeling it a little bit
Let's
more.
see how it is, though, from the winner himself, Mark Thompson.
Has him both right now.
Yeah.
All right, I'm here with the winners, Jared and Lindsay. Congratulations to both of you guys. Let me start with you. What was the course like, and how was your race?
Oh, it was a beautiful day. You know, the light rain made for no sun. If it's going to be humid out here, I'll take the rain over the sun probably. Yeah.
And any strategy going into this, trying to catch the women as well?
Sure, that was fun at the end there. See them out there working hard and made a race at the end too. Probably helped me to the line. So, yeah, fun.
So could you see her when you were coming up on her?
Not until the straightaway, not until coming up that hill. And so it was close, certainly close.
Lindsay, what was the race like for you?
Well, the most recent thing was that sprint finish, so I have to say he made me find strength and ability to dig deep that I didn't think I had. He kept me honest, and I was very impressed by his kick. And the race, I mean, the volunteers do an amazing job. I want to thank them first and foremost. The people on the course encouraging us, and a great field of ladies that kept me at a good clip early on. And then my favorite is when we get in the rolling hills with this humidity. I like the difficult conditions, and my hope was I'd hold out this fella, but congrats to him and congrats to the other ladies for working hard out there.
Could you feel him reeling you in?
Yeah, I tried to throw down a kick as we were probably about 500 meters out, thinking maybe mentally I would break him. I put in something, and then about 200 meters out, I was done. He got me, and so I was just like, let me not fall down before the line and get myself safely to the finish. But valiant effort from him, the other guys, the other ladies, and love this course and look forward to coming back next year.
And where are you from?
I have 2 places I call home. I've been living in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, but just moved up to Austin, New York, and coaching at Riverdale High School in the Bronx. And I want to say congrats to my ladies at Louds Games this weekend, and look forward to seeing you guys on Monday.
Congratulations. Where are you from? Tell everybody.
Provo, Utah.
Provo, Utah.
Yeah.
Are you going to come back?
Yes.
Bring the championship?
I'll have to come back, right?
Yes, absolutely.
We'll see. You know, I have to look at the schedule next year and stuff, but for sure in one of these next years.
Yeah, and you said that the weather really play a role in the race here today?
Sure, I think it makes it. When you have, you know, maybe not optimal conditions, it turns it a little tactical, but really, you know, ended up being what I think was pretty good conditions. Light drizzle throughout the race and cooler, you know, because the sun's not out. This was okay.
Congratulations. Thanks so much.
Very much.
Great job today. Inspiration to a lot of people, both of you guys. Thank you much. All right.
Great job. Great job.
Wow, well, you got to hear it from both of them here. Just incredible reactions to that race.
And it's interesting to hear what they were thinking, as we were wondering what they were thinking all that time, to actually hear what was happening in their heads.
I gotta say, this has been one of the most exciting races I've ever watched. Just to see that, especially when it came down to downtown Grand Rapids, it was the difference
And
here.
you hear Lindsay talking about making that push 500 meters out to try and break Jared mentally, and it actually broke her physically. But still, the amount of respect that they have for one another and the smile on their faces after competing in a 25K and exerting all that energy.
Yeah, I think if they bumped that equalizer up a little bit, maybe they wouldn't be quite as much friendliness afterwards.
If there were a $5,000 prize as opposed to the $1,000.
Maybe we'll need to do that next year. We'll have to talk to those guys and shorten that time just a little bit.
Maybe just a little bit.
You know? Oh, man.
You can imagine.
But they talk about there how with the weather conditions like this, it doesn't matter, and of course it matters, the athleticism, but it's more that mental running, the tactical game that comes into play.
Absolutely, and we can see that right now. Even the people that are out there now, they're hitting that water station, and they're trying to push through that barrier now where it starts to get hard. The mental game is just as big as the physical. You know, whether or not you're racing for first place like that, or you're just trying to finish, you got to talk yourself into it. And we heard Lindsay say that. She was saying, you know, I gotta try to break him. I gotta try to do this, and that mental part is big.
This is the amazing part about it, though, when you consider the elites have finished the race now, and we're looking at all these other runs who are running at a pretty good clip. They're at Millennium Park. And so the distance and difference between the elites and the average Joe, so to speak, is just incredible.
Jack's in there somewhere.
That's all right. I know. Think about Jack.
We need to take that map graphic back up and have a little J. Tracking the J. Can we ping his cell phone?
Maybe next time we can let Jack leave about a half hour ahead of the women. Maybe a little more.
Maybe a little more.
See if I can find him on the athlete track.
We're going to take a second here. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Oh, it's really been an exciting morning here
my
covering
gosh,
the Fifth Third Riverbank Run for everyone in West Michigan. If you couldn't make it out, we got to hear on TV because it was a rainy, soggy morning, wasn't it?
But a fun and exciting morning.
Yes.
And we do have it confirmed. Ellen Baca just saw Jack Doles turning by Johnson Park, so he's still out there.
Still on the course.
Yeah.
Still on his way in here.
Still
He's
on
gonna
his
make
feet.
it.
Yeah.
Exactly. An important part of it. Fantastic. Well, go Jack, go. I'm excited about that. I gotta say, that was just incredible, though. I've got a giant smile on my face. I just love that. That was so much fun watching that finish, and now we're gonna start watching some of the other elites come in here, and as well as just the regular runners are gonna be coming in and cross that line.
And the hope is that I think that there's a camera at the finish line that people can be able to go back later on, type in their bib number, and they should be able to see their finish clip, hopefully, if there's no...
If everything works out as planned, as most of it has this morning, that should be the case. Type in your bib number, and you'll be able to watch you crossing the finish line, which is a great.
25K runners can do that. Yeah, you can watch it yourself, or you can watch your family member do it too, which will be really cool.
And then you can share it online, which
is
going to be so fun. People are going to love watching you finish your huge race.
Yeah,
I might actually go back and type in Jared Ward's bib number just to see that
Just to see
finish
that again.
one more time.
yeah.
I mean, what a race to the end it was.
That was so cool. Yeah, so you can find that at woodtv.com, that whole thing, and then results will be up. The official results will be up this afternoon.
Now, what are these runners doing right now, Dathan, these elite runners, as they cool down? I mean, it's not over with yet. They still have to go out and run another, 3 miles?
Yeah, they got to cool down still. A lot of these guys will turn around and race again. There's no U.S. Road Championships, I don't believe. Actually, the mile might be coming up, but they won't. These guys won't run that event. But there's none for a little bit, so they need to cool down, get back into their training cycle. And if they're running track, it's only about 6 weeks away. But otherwise, the summer road race circuit is coming up, and so they got to get ready for it.
Yeah.
What are some of the cities they'll visit for that?
We have. It starts in Houston at the U.S. Half Marathon Championships in January. We had the 25K was in Jacksonville, or the 15K, sorry, was in Jacksonville. We had the 25K here. We have a 20K later on in the year in New Haven, Connecticut. It finishes at the end of the year in November 16th, I believe, in Alexandria, Virginia, with the U.S. 12K, which is the U.S. Road Championships for the year. Points are double, and that's where a lot of these guys are going to end their seasons.
Awesome.
And while we have you here, what's up next for you?
For me, I'm going to be doing some of those races, hopefully, try to get some of those points. And no major marathons for me, I don't think. I mean, I still get the itch to maybe do one this fall, but we'll see. I'm still playing with the idea. I'm on recovery mode still from Boston. But
you're going to do Boston again?
Yeah, not next year probably, just because the trials will be only 8 weeks before that. So hopefully God willing, make a 4th Olympic team, and maybe I'll be back in here for the 2016 Riverbank run.
That would be fantastic.
Greg Meyer, he said it.
Yeah.
Greg would love to see that if he would do that. Yeah, that'd be fantastic if you run. Although we missed you here on the desk.
Yeah.
You've been great help.
Oh, thank you.
Great
I
help.
appreciate it. It's been fun. I love watching the races like that and be able to see. I love having the competition here and this great event that's been a staple for 38 years down here at downtown Grand Rapids, the Fifth Third Riverbank Run. It's a special event, so it's fun to be part of it with you guys.
We certainly appreciate having you right here. So thank you.
We can take a look. Yeah.
Millennium Park. You're seeing all the runners as they're headed about halfway through, right? Is that about the halfway point approximately?
Mile 9, it says right there. That's a mile 9 mark. So they're coming up the hill here, getting that last water. See how thick the crowd is here now. It's this is the bulk of the people running, that are in this time frame. So a lot of people in there, and this is when you know if you worked hard in February or not.
Oh my gosh.
Or how your body reacts to that spaghetti dinner, because you said earlier, some bodies react differently on race day.
You're seeing people over on the right-hand side here who are stopping and grabbing some water as they're coming through here, and they're getting that water from volunteers. And we were talking earlier, about 2,000 people have given their time to make this thing happen.
Krista Native, the race director, just said 2,000 volunteers. This is the what it takes to go on behind the scenes is truly incredible, and so this is a great event. Wouldn't be possible without all the volunteers, without the great work that they do. Fifth Third Riverbank Run every year goes off without a hitch.
We can't say it any better than that. Thank you so much, Dathan, for coming in. Thank you all so much for watching us this morning and joining in this newscast, this broadcast, this racecast that we've been putting on television here. We're proud to be a part of it and still thrilled to death to actually see such an exciting finish on the Fifth Third Riverbank Run.
Thanks so much for watching.
Yeah.
Last mile to catch that.
Just to follow some people.
Down as they take the turn. Rounds the corner. She just passed